A Mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
At DSW, we ask the important questions, like, what shoes are you going to wear? Whether you're prepping for wedding season, festival season, or just planning the ultimate vacay, the right shoes can make or break an RSVP. So own the moment. You've got big plans, and we've got just the shoes. At the perfect price, of course. Get ready to get ready with Designer Shoe Warehouse. Head to your DSW store or dsw.com today, and let us surprise you.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised.
My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today I'm discussing updates we saw in 3 cases in 2025. Now, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you know that I've been doing this yearly update episode for quite some time. But in 2025, I did something new. I began covering as many case updates in real time as I could, and you guys really seem to enjoy that. So I'm going to continue that into 2026. But of course, there were some case updates that I couldn't get to that I want to tell you about today. 2 of these cases are solved and 1 remains unsolved. Those are in the cases of Melodee Buzzard, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker, and Emily Pike. These are our 2025 case updates. If you're new to these update episodes, I'm going to give you a brief overview followed by the updates in the case. Let's get started with Melodee Buzzard. On Tuesday, October 14th, 2025, an administrator from the Lompoc Unified School District in California reported 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard's prolonged absence to the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, noting she hadn't picked up classroom assignments for her guided homeschooling program for several weeks. Deputies were then dispatched to the family home for a welfare check. They found Melodee's mother, 40-year-old Ashley Buzzard, but her daughter was gone. Ashley offered no clear explanation for her daughter's whereabouts, immediately shifting the focus of the inquiry from a missing child to a suspicious parent. Initial confusion clouded the timeline. The sheriff's office first stated that they couldn't confirm any sightings of Melodee within the past year, with the most recent photograph being 2 years old. But that window did narrow when investigators confirmed that Ashley had enrolled Melodee in person for an independent study program in August 2025. Throughout this entire investigation, Ashley Buzzard was described as consistently uncooperative and actively stonewalling detectives. She also refused to speak with family, including Melodee's half-sister, Karina. This was huge. It was all over the news, and people swarmed to this home demanding justice and answers for Melodee. One video actually captured Ashley Buzzard in broad daylight systematically ripping down missing posters of her own daughter in front of her home. This pattern of evasion and bizarre hostility forced investigators to scrutinize the one event that held the key to Melodee's fate, a mysterious cross-country road trip. It began on October 7, 2025, when Ashley rented a white Chevy Malibu with California license plate 9MNG101 in Lompoc. And this is where we got the most recent image of Melodee. Surveillance images from the rental company showed both Ashley and Melodee in what appeared to be wigs, and just the next day, on October 8th, the rental car was observed with a New York license plate, HCG 9677. This plate didn't belong to the vehicle or to Ashley. Investigators quickly concluded that this was either a false or switched plate to avoid detection. But Ashley returned the car alone without Melodee, and it had the original California plate. With this information, investigators focused their search on the desolate route taken on October 9th and 10th in 2025. Areas of interest included Utah, Arizona, and California. But still, Ashley Buzzard was silent. Melodee's paternal family and a coalition of concerned community members launched a vocal and desperate campaign to find her. Their public efforts applied mounting pressure on both Ashley and law enforcement, ensuring that the question of Melodee's whereabouts would not be ignored. And really, this is a case where we saw this family spring into action. Melodee's aunt, Elizabeth Meza, remembered her niece as a happy, loving child and delivered a message directly to her, quote, "We love her, and we just want her home and she is loved," end quote. Meza and other relatives spent their weekends distributing flyers throughout Lompoc and surrounding areas. Melodee's paternal grandmother also organized a candlelight vigil, bringing the community together to pray for Melodee's safe return. But by the end of October, it became clear that this was not really a search for Melodee, but a grim search for evidence. In a coordinated late-night operation, FBI agents and Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office detectives executed a series of high-level search warrants. These warrants were all served at the same time, one at Ashley's home, a storage locker she maintained, and on the white Chevy Malibu that she used for the cross-country trip. Ashley Buzzard was removed from her home during these searches and moved to an alternate location. But of course, neighbors were still watching everything going on in this house. And one witness reported that they saw agents removing 2 large yellow bags of evidence from the home. It also appears that they removed carpet and sections of drywall, and that concrete floor of the garage was torn up. It seemed clear that something had happened, and unfortunately, our worst fears were confirmed on December 6th. When Melodee's remains were found on a remote stretch of road along State Route 24 in Wayne County, Utah. She was found with multiple bullet wounds to her head. Officials believe Melodee was likely killed on or around October 9th, not long after she and Ashley were last seen on surveillance video together. Now, this is obviously a case with a lot of circumstantial evidence, but they were also able to connect Ashley to Melodee's murder using ballistics. A casing found near the scene in Utah was entered into a federal database, and it matched to a spent casing found in one of the searches of the Buzzard home, as well as another found in the rental car. And finally, on December 23, 2025, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office announced that Ashley Buzzard had been arrested for the first-degree murder of her daughter. According to reporting by The Independent, those charges included 2 enhanced charges as well, the use of a firearm during a felony, and murder while lying in wait.
Today, I am deeply saddened to report to you that the body of Melodee Alani Buzzard, the 9-year-old child who went missing from the Lompoc area in October of this year, has been found in a rural area outside of Canesville in Wayne County, Utah. This morning, at approximately 7:51 a.m., members of our Sheriff's Office and the FBI arrested her mother, Ashley Lynn Buzzard, for her murder. We have recovered a significant amount of evidence that clearly indicates that this heinous crime was committed by Ashley Buzzard, Melodee's mother, and the very person upon who she relied upon and trusted the most in this world. December the 6th, 2025. Members of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office in Utah responded to a call from a man and a woman who were taking photos. This couple had discovered the decomposed body of a deceased person off of the side adjacent to West Caneville Road. Although immediate identification of the deceased person was not possible, it was apparent that the decedent was a female who had died from gunshot wounds to the head. Yesterday, the FBI Crime Lab notified our agency that DNA analysis had determined that the remains found in Utah were a familial DNA match to Ashley Buzzard.
So we have charges, but we still don't have answers. At this time, they still don't have a clear motive for why Ashley killed Melodee, but they do say that it appears she acted alone. Prosecutors added that Ashley Buzzard did this with a high degree of planning, sophistication, and professionalism, as well as a, quote, high degree of cruelty, viciousness, or callousness, end quote. The county district attorney is seeking a sentence of life in prison without parole, and Ashley Buzzard has pleaded not guilty. Ashley appeared in the Santa Barbara County Superior Court on January 7, 2026. At that time, a date for her preliminary hearing was set for January 21, 2026. So while we do have the answers that I think nobody wanted in this case, what will happen to Ashley and why she did this does remain unknown. This episode of Voices for Justice is brought to you by Quince. I've been trying to be more intentional about what I wear each day. I'm leaning into pieces that feel effortless, comfortable, and still put together, and Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. They use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and ultra-soft denim. And the best part? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship, not brand markup. I recently just ordered their tiered linen dress, of course in black. I wanted to pair it with one of my favorite pairs of brown wedges. The problem was, I didn't have a brown purse. So I got that from Quince too. It's one of my favorite outfits. It's easy, effortless, and feels amazing, especially as we're getting a little bit warmer here in Phoenix. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/justice for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/justice for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/justice.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Our next case update is in the case of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker. On the evening of Friday, May 30th, 2025, 35-year-old Whitney Decker contacted the Wenatchee, Washington Police Department to file what was initially handled as a civil complaint regarding a missed custody exchange. Her ex-husband, 32-year-old Travis Decker, had failed to return their 3 daughters, Evelyn, age 8, Peyton, age 6, and Olivia, age 5. Whitney Decker expressed immediate concern, noting that this was not like Travis. She also informed officers that Travis was experiencing mental health issues and was living a transient lifestyle out of his truck. One of the most heart-wrenching parts of this case is that the Wenatchee Police Department did contact the Washington State Patrol to request an Amber Alert, but they declined, stating that the criteria was not met. It wasn't until the following day, Saturday, May 31st, that an Endangered Missing Person Alert was issued after detectives provided additional information. And things happened pretty fast. The search for the girls came to a grim end on the afternoon of June 2nd, 2025. A deputy on patrol located Decker's unoccupied white 2017 GMC Sierra pickup in a remote area near the Rock Island campground. Approximately 100 yards from the vehicle, down a small embankment, they found the bodies of all 3 girls. Each girl had a plastic bag placed over her head, and evidence at the scene indicated that their wrists were either bound with zip ties or showed marks of having been bound. On the tailgate of Decker's truck, investigators documented what appeared to be 2 handprints of blood. Obviously, this changed everything. This was no longer a search for a missing father and their children, but instead a manhunt for a suspected triple murder. And investigators knew that this wasn't going to be an easy search for Travis Decker. Authorities emphasized that Decker was well-versed in wilderness survival and capable of surviving for, quote, days or even weeks in the wilderness on his own, and with very little equipment, end quote. Essentially, they're dealing with a veteran who has elite survival skills and some mental instability. But luckily, the scale of the response was immediate and extensive. They had the sheriff's office out there, the U.S. Marshals Service, U.S. Border Patrol, the FBI, the Washington State Patrol, and the Washington National Guard. The most significant development during the active search phase occurred on June 10, 2025. A tip from hikers reported a lone, ill-prepared hiker who seemed to be avoiding others. A helicopter was dispatched to the area, and they saw a lone, off-trail hiker near Kolchak Lake, but he immediately ran out of sight. At this point, they prompted the public to lock their doors and vehicles and report any suspicious activity. Of course, as these things go, as they're looking for Travis, they're also doing the investigation in the background. To be honest, I really don't want to get into all the grim details of how these girls died, but through the use of DNA technology, they were able to link Travis directly to the girls' murders. They also uncovered digital evidence suggesting that the crime was premeditated. An examination of Decker's electronic devices revealed that he'd performed several Google searches in the days before the murders, including, quote, "How does a person move to Canada?" End quote. And, quote, "How to relocate to Canada?" End quote. This leads investigators to believe that he was planning to flee after murdering the girls. And then finally, after nearly 4 months of intense searching, Travis Decker was found. On September 18, 2025, his remains were found in a remote, heavily wooded area on Grindstone Mountain, less than a mile from the original crime scene at Rock Island Campground. And one of the biggest questions in this case is, how did they find Travis? Well, it seems that the nearly 4-month stalemate was not broken by a chance sighting, but by a modern investigative technique, operational psychology. After exhausting conventional search methods with the dogs, they had ATVs, they had horses, they pulled out all the stops in this. And eventually, they brought in a specialist to build a behavioral profile based on the evidence. The profile accurately depicted that Decker had fled to a steep, treacherous terrain that was considered unsafe for searchers to access from below. Acting on this intelligence, teams including a U.S. Customs and Border Protection canine unit with a dog trained in human remains detection implemented a top-down strategy to access the dangerous area. But due to the condition of Travis's remains, a definitive cause of death could not be determined. But this did officially close a dark chapter for this county, concluding one of the most exhaustive and heartbreaking manhunts in the region's history. Now, it's absolutely worth noting that the community rallied in support of the victim's family and in shared mourning. At a public memorial, hundreds gathered to honor the girls. Attendees were asked to wear purple, pink, or green, the girls' favorite colors. They also rallied behind Whitney Decker. Many contributed to a GoFundMe campaign that raised over $1.2 million to help her navigate the aftermath of the tragedy. And this case has become a catalyst for advocacy. Lawmakers and child safety advocates gathered to call for stronger protective laws, specifically highlighting Caden's Law, a federal act designed to improve child safety in custody cases that has not been adopted in Washington state. The case also reignited the broader public debate over the criteria for issuing Amber Alerts, with many people questioning the initial decision to decline an alert for Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. The tragic journey of the Decker sisters, from a missed visitation to a national manhunt and a call for change, has left an indelible legacy, a solemn reminder of the systematic failures the case exposed, from the initial alert controversy to the clear gaps in mental health resources for those in crisis, which continue to echo long after the search concluded. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you have pets, you probably know about Chewy, and you also know that when they say that they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, they're not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I've been shopping with them for a very long time. And in addition to the auto-ship feature that gets the dog's food to them every single month, I also love to experiment with different treats. But I'm a bit picky. For me, it has to be high quality with simple ingredients. I recently picked up treats from Shepherd Boy Farms that are 100% just chicken breast. Popcorn and Heber are already obsessed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing, it's rare for the Keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family.
I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
The last case I want to talk to you about today is Emily Pike, the only unsolved case in this updates episode. But there has been some movement I wanted to share with you. 14-year-old Emily Pike, a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe, was not simply a victim of a single horrific crime. Her death was the culmination of a cascading series of institutional failures. Caught between her home on a vast reservation and a state-licensed group home in the city of Mesa, Arizona, she was let down by the very systems meant to protect her. Now, to fully comprehend the scope of the tragedy that befell Emily Pike, it's essential to understand the context of the year leading up to her disappearance. The events of 2023 reveal a series of systematic breakdowns and unheeded cries for help that placed her in a perilous situation long before she vanished for the last time. In 2023, a 911 call from a remote area of the San Carlos Reservation reported that Emily had been sexually assaulted. And this response really did highlight the jurisdictional and resource challenges facing tribal law enforcement. Instead of a police officer, the tribe's fish and game department was dispatched. The San Carlos Apache police chief later explained to state legislators that his 22 officers were busy covering the 1.8 million acre reservation. A family member Emily accused was arrested but was later released without being charged. The Bureau of Indian Affairs closed the case due to insufficient evidence. Following the incident, Emily was taken into the custody of San Carlos Apache Social Services and placed into the Sacred Journey group home in Mesa. Uprooted and traumatized, Emily's placement in the group home initiated a pattern of desperate behavior. Between September and November 2023, she attempted suicide and ran away from the facility multiple times. Mesa police body camera footage from these incidents captured some of these moments. She repeatedly told officers that the group home was not her home and that she felt like she was being punished. During one incident on Halloween 2023, a group home employee noted to police that Emily was boy crazy and had run off with a group of 3 guys. Each time she was returned to the facility. But on January 27, 2025, Emily ran away from the Mesa group home for the last time. She snuck out of her bedroom window, on which the alarm had been disabled. Her last known location was near the intersection of Mesa Drive and McKellips Road. That night, the group home informed the Mesa police of Emily's disappearance. The following day, her tribe was informed. And a week later, the San Carlos Apache Social Services finally notified Emily's family that she was missing. San Carlos Attorney General Alex Ritchie explained that her tribal caseworker did not immediately consider her disappearance an emergency, citing her past history of running away and returning. This critical misjudgment cost precious time and momentum in the search efforts. Then, on Valentine's Day, February 14, 2025, the search came to a horrific end. Emily's remains were discovered in trash bags just off US 60 near milepost 277 in a remote area outside of Globe, Arizona. 2 weeks later, the remains were positively identified as Emily Pike. The Gila County Sheriff's Office officially launched a murder investigation. Her family's grief was compounded by a shocking breach of protocol and communication, one of the most controversial pieces of this case. Emily's mother, Stephanie Docella, learned of her daughter's murder not from law enforcement, but after seeing photos of the garbage bags containing human remains that were leaked from an officer and posted on social media. Police didn't call Stephanie Docella. She called them after viewing the photos. Now, as you guys know, this happened in my state, and I can tell you firsthand that this caused outrage. On March 6, 2025, hundreds of people gathered for a candlelight vigil in Mesa, holding signs that read, "Justice for Emily Pike," and "No more stolen sisters." The community's collective grief and demand for answers marked the beginning of a long and painful fight for justice. With Emily Pike's death officially ruled a homicide, a multi-agency task force was formed to untangle the complex case. The investigation, led by the Gila County Sheriff's Office, moved forward with critical forensic analysis and public appeals for information. But the path to identifying her killer or killers would prove to be fraught with challenges, including the spread of dangerous misinformation. On July 1, 2025, the Pinal County Medical Examiner's Office released the official cause of death as homicidal violence with blunt head trauma. A forensic pathologist and former Pinal County Chief Medical Examiner explained the significance of the findings, noting that, quote, beating someone, bludgeoning someone potentially to death is a much more violent type of way of killing someone, end quote. The fact that Emily's remains were dismembered added another layer of complexity, but unfortunately, we don't know a lot about the investigation into Emily's murder. One of the only things that we do know is that investigators confirm that search warrants were served on a residential structure, a vehicle, and a storage trailer. To encourage public assistance, the reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction was increased to a total of $200,000. However, as we see, as the investigation continued, it was hampered by the spread of false information. In September 2025, the San Carlos Apache Police Department was forced to publicly dispel rumors circulating on social media that an arrest had been made. As the criminal investigation continued for months without an arrest, Emily's family expanded their fight for justice to include holding the institutions responsible for her care legally and systematically accountable. Their actions brought intense scrutiny upon the child welfare system and the group home where Emily spent her final months. They were demanding answers not only about who killed her, but why she was so vulnerable in the first place. Then, on August 5, 2025, Emily's biological father, Jensen Pike, filed a wrongful death complaint with the state. The complaint, which is part of a lawsuit against Sacred Journey, the operator of the Mesa Group Home, alleges that the facility's negligent actions and inactions contributed directly to her death. Key allegations include the negligent hiring and retention of 5 employees who the lawsuit claims were inexperienced, reckless, and negligent. Emily's family has stated that their primary motivation is to force systemic change, ensuring that group homes provide better care so that another child does not suffer the same fate. By November 2025, 9 months after Emily's body was found, the Healy County Sheriff's Office had yet to publicly identify a suspect, or even a person of interest in her murder. While Emily's murder does remain unsolved, her case has become a tragic catalyst, forcing a profound and overdue examination of Arizona's child welfare and justice systems. Her case really has exposed critical communication gaps, dangerous jurisdictional confusion, and deep-seated policy failures that disproportionately affect Indigenous children. The public outcry and the family's advocacy has sparked immediate legislative action and a renewed, urgent push for comprehensive reform. A joint legislative oversight committee hearing on May 14, 2025, laid bare the core systemic failure in Emily's case. Because she was in the custody of the sovereign San Carlos Apache tribe, but living in a state-licensed group home, state laws designed to protect missing children in the Department of Child Safety custody did not apply to her. DCS Director Catherine Patak, speaking just 2 weeks after being confirmed to her position, explained the legal reality. Quote, "When a child is living on tribal land, the tribe has exclusive jurisdiction. The state can't come in and tell them what to do with their children." End quote. Of course, a critical factor in the delayed response was the initial labeling of Emily as a runaway instead of a missing person. In the wake of her death, Arizona passed Emily's Law, which established the state's turquoise alert system. This new alert is specifically designed for missing and endangered tribal members, aiming to close the notification gap that proved so fatal in Emily's case. As of recording this episode, it has led to at least 1 child being returned home safe. Nearly a year after Emily Pike's disappearance, her case remains unsolved, but efforts to keep her memory alive and maintain public pressure for justice continue. These efforts, however, have not been without conflict. The very symbols of her memory have become points of contention in the community where she was last seen. On January 2, 2026, the roadside memorial at Mesa Drive and McKellips Road, the last place Emily was seen alive, was dismantled by the property owner. The owner stated he removed it because it was on his land without permission, and later clarified that he left the items in a bin so that they could be retrieved. But for the community and Emily's supporters, this act was deeply painful. Supporters quickly returned to the site and rebuilt the memorial, arguing it's a vital tool to remind the public that a child was murdered and her killer remains free. In the face of this controversy, Emily's family has expressed hope that the city of Mesa might consider designating a location for a permanent memorial to honor her life and legacy. Again, Emily Pike's brutal murder remains unsolved. A reward of $200,000 is offered for information leading to the arrest of her killer, who is still at large. The profound and lasting impact of her case, however, extends far beyond the active criminal investigation. Her family's relentless fight for justice has exposed deep cracks in the system meant to protect vulnerable children, in particular Indigenous youth caught in a confusing web of tribal, state, and federal jurisdictions. The passage of Emily's Law and the ongoing scrutiny of Arizona's group homes are direct results of her tragedy, representing the beginning of reforms aimed at preventing another child from suffering the same fate. While justice in the courtroom remains elusive, the fight for systemic accountability continues, driven by the determination that Emily Pike will not be remembered as just another statistic. If you have any information about Emily Pike, please contact the FBI's Phoenix Field Office at 623-466-1999. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Voices for Justice is hosted and produced by me, Sarah Turney, and is a Voices for Justice media original. If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find these cases in need of justice.
Send Help is now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
We're somewhere in the Gulf of Thailand.
Getting us out of here should be your focus. I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore.
It's bold, relentless, and endlessly rewatchable. Discover why critics give it 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You're so fired.
Oh, am I? No help is coming.
Send Help, rated R, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Welcome to the Secret After Show. The studio door is open and our emotional support puppies, Popcorn and Heber, are in the room. If you couldn't tell, I am very sick. And it's been one of those winters where, like, I was sick for a few weeks, then I got better, and now I'm sick again. So I really tried to power through and make this episode for you, because, personally, I just hate seeing weeks and weeks without new episodes. So I hope my voice wasn't too annoying. I was able to power through, but again, thank you for your understanding. Feels like everybody is sick right now, and I got the sickness. But I really just wanted to come into this after show to say thank you for a great 2025. Thank you for supporting the show, and thank you, as always, for helping it grow. I have seen consistent growth in this show year over year, and that is so exciting. This year is actually going to mark 7 years that I've been doing this work, which is absolutely insane to me. And again, that could only happen because of people like you, because you believed in me, because you continue to listen even when my voice sounds like this, because you believe in this mission to go a layer deeper in true crime. And I guess really just think about the family aspect of everything. Because you care about hearing these stories from people who have been impacted by true crime. I think that's really cool, and I think what we're doing is really special, and again, I could not do it without your help. But in an effort to not completely blow out my voice, let's go on to our segment of hope. I know that, this is an updates episode, so hope is kind of ingrained, hope for answers anyway. But I just wanted to start this year off with a great segment of hope. This comes from Coco News 5. in Oklahoma. And the headline reads, "What We Know, Parents Face Numerous Charges After Missing 12-Year-Old Oklahoma Boy is Found." The article reads, a 12-year-old Oklahoma boy at the center of a suspicious disappearance investigation was found over the weekend in Caddo County, 9 days after he was last seen. Now, it looks like he was reported missing on January 2nd, and his parents were arrested days later. They now face numerous charges, including child neglect and child sexual abuse. Ugh. But here's what we know. The 12-year-old boy was reported missing after he was last seen around 11 p.m. on January 2nd at 4th Street and East Grand Avenue near the Quality Inn in Chickasaw. On January 2nd, members of the nonprofit organization United Cajun Navy found him, I think the article has a little misread here, found him inside a shelter of sorts near cement, not far from where he lived with his parents. So Thomas Gentile with the United Cajun Navy says, quote, "He was apologetic, terrified, super scared, like he was going to be in trouble. We reassured him it wasn't his fault. He's safe, and we gave him a big hug," end quote. This news organization, Coco 5, has removed the boy's name because he has been found and is safe, which I respect immensely. It's also why I'm not saying his name here. But of course, I will say the names of the perpetrators. George and Kimberly Cole, who are the stepfather and biological mother, were arrested on January 7th and booked into the Caddo County Jail. The jail's online booking details showed that George Cole was booked on account of conspiracy and Kimberly Cole was booked on account of crimes against nature. George Cole was charged with 8 counts of child abuse, 1 count of child sexual abuse, and 1 count of child neglect. Kimberly Cole faces 11 charges, including 3 counts of child abuse, 3 counts of child neglect, 2 counts of child sexual abuse, 2 counts of crimes against nature, and 1 count of conspiracy. But obviously this makes our segment of hope because this boy was found, no matter how horrific his circumstances are and were. And of course, I just want to send him and his loved ones nothing but love and support. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time, hopefully with a better voice.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.